Welcome to another episode of APMEX Answers. Today we're going to talk about what it would take to get silver to triple digits and beyond. Also, what would happen if we hit $300 silver? Stick around and find out. Thanks again for joining us. This is a topic we've wanted to cover for some time. There is a lot of prognostication on the future silver price showing up in analyst articles, interviews, videos, etc. And there are a few numbers floating around that are very attention-grabbing. Now, I want to be clear that at APMEX, we're really not interested in trying to guess the future spot price of gold, silver, or any other precious metal. That's a game for analysts and authors and others who make a living on such work. So this video is really more about assessing those claims of triple-digit silver to come and examining the fundamentals so you can decide for yourself what you think the base case is. There is some understandable fatigue around this concept because we've been hearing the numbers for some time and it just hasn't happened yet. So first, the number most commonly floating around is $300 silver. And as far as we can tell, this number originates from one very bullish analysis that received a lot of press and was repeated everywhere. And the assumptions for this base case are that gold rises to $5,000 an ounce and the silver to gold ratio drops to 15:1. And that this occurs in a speculative environment where cooler heads do not prevail. So what are the odds? Well, gold has never hit $5,000 an ounce, and this would be a new all-time high, even if we adjust for inflation. Now, the all-time high for gold was $2,074 in August of 2020. There might be some confusion from our audience. We did receive comments in other videos. If you've been doing your research, you may have come across some historical gold price charts, and some of those charts show the price of gold as it traded in dollars, and some of those online charts show the price of gold adjusted for inflation. We're going to go back 40 years and look at the average price of gold in 1983, which was $424 an ounce. Now, if you adjust that for inflation, and depending on how you calculate it, you should get about $1,250 to $1,300 per ounce. So the average price seems to bear out that gold's a bit hot right now. But if we look at gold's historic high of $850 an ounce in 1980, then there is still room to go higher. $850 an ounce in 1980 would be worth a little over $3,100 an ounce in 2023. And while we're at it, silver hit an all-time high of about $50 an ounce in 1980, which translates to a little over $182 in today's world. This means our base case to get to silver $300 an ounce would mean we'd need to see a new high beyond anything we've seen in the past for gold under these assumptions. It's not impossible, a bit of a stretch perhaps, but there are a lot of bullish indicators for gold, and we're seeing a lot of analysts actually making the case that gold will reach new highs this year. So we're not denying that's possible, but we'd like to see gold reach about $3,000 an ounce before looking to the next threshold. With the kinds of trends we're seeing take shape in the world, new all-time highs seem more likely than not. But price is notoriously difficult to predict in this space. If gold were to reach $3,000 an ounce, then $300 silver would actually be possible with a 10:1 silver to gold ratio. And we've heard from viewers that silver's mined at a 6:1 ratio or a 9:1 ratio to gold. And they say, really, it should be priced that way and the ratio will need to right itself. Now, I'm going to take a stand on this and say that should not be the case. Although that may sound controversial to some, it's really all about basic economics. We wouldn't peg the price of silver to gold based on one of those ratios because that ratio only takes into account supply. It does not take into account demand. It doesn't address silver's elasticity relative to gold either. If you're new to economics, products with elastic demand are products whose demand is sensitive to price changes. And the same goes for supply elasticity. If it's inelastic, then it's not as sensitive to price changes. If gold is more inelastic than silver, the price of gold can go higher and silver will not keep up because demand will wane as the price increases. Now, the reverse of that is also true. So this means that whether silver or gold is more elastic than the other will determine which way that ratio swings as prices increase. Now, this doesn't mean we think triple-digit silver couldn't happen. We could see the ratio drop dramatically in a speculation frenzy, as we have seen it happen before. But the ratio for the past 5 years hasn't gone below 60-1. Proponents of triple-digit silver are stretching back sometimes hundreds of years to get a ratio that will work for this theory. We really haven't had a steady 15-1 ratio since the 1800s. So what we're looking for to make this happen is a black swan event that affects silver while the price of gold is elevated to a new all-time high. So we think $300 silver won't happen if it's business as usual. And it seems unlikely that $300 silver would be sustained as a new normal. If it's driven that high, we don't imagine it would last long. And the analysts who are predicting $300 silver have said as much as well. All right, let's put the math aside for a moment and just ask, what would happen at $300 an ounce? Could you even sell your silver? There is the question of liquidity. How many local coin shops have the financial position to buy your stack at $300 an ounce? How many would be willing to take the risk of buying at that price if they suspected a crash was incoming? And silver is used in all kinds of applications. $300 an ounce silver is a problem for the world. It's a problem for the medical field. Silver is an important commodity in healthcare. It would be a problem for anyone who wants to buy cars, computers, phones. Many chemicals use silver. It's just such an essential component for so many things. If silver's price rises dramatically and sustains, we expect that industrial applications would start to switch to other metals where possible. Kind of like how many manufacturers, automobile manufacturers moved from palladium to platinum when palladium got too expensive. Or kind of like how solar panels and solar panel manufacturers have cut their silver use in half over the years to keep costs down. Now, we're very bullish on silver at APMEX. Many of us, myself included, have invested in silver. It does seem possible to get to triple-digit silver, but there needs to be a confluence of events to make it happen. And we'd like to see silver breach $100 an ounce before looking even higher. We're also not sure what sorts of catalysts would need to be in place for silver to sustain at those levels, so it seems more like a temporary price target driven by speculation. As always, we encourage our viewers to do their due diligence and research the topic for themselves before making a purchase. We want all of our viewers to make wise purchasing decisions for themselves and their families. That's all we have for you today. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.